That is a bus, a 14-3 bus that John Jansen is currently putting in reverse.
Yep.
Asking us to join him and Tom for the Detroit Lions.
And apparently just ran you over. And that's okay. You can stand in the way. But we want all those that believe in the Detroit Lions, what they have built, what they continue to build, because I do have faith that Brad Holmes will go out and address the edge of the defense, whether it's one guy or two guys. We don't know who that is.
Doesn't that matter?
Yeah, it does. It does matter. And so you need more proof. Like I needed more proof. I couldn't just believe in the Detroit Tigers. I needed proof. As each game went by, it provided more proof. And now all of a sudden, I'm tasked with coming up with the deadline for you.
Could it be the trade deadline? Thanksgiving. You tell me. What do you think the cutoff is to be on board the 14-win bus?
So they play the Packers just before the trade deadline.
Yeah.
And you said you feel like you're still forced to give them a loss against the Texans. You picked them before the season,
yeah,
and I feel like I still have to hold to that. If you feel like you have to hold to something, I will give you until after the Texans game.
Okay.
3 games left.
John, if they win all 3 of these games, and they've added a pass rusher, I'll be running from behind trying to catch the bus at that point, as long as it hasn't taken off. But
just make sure you bring your car flag with you.
Okay.
We'll put that on the bus.
12-5 was my preseason pick. Losing Aiden, not knowing who they're trading for, knowing what this division now looks like, knowing
Sometimes
you still got Buffalo.
Faith.
This doesn't change my opinion of the Super Bowl. It's just a realization of a tough schedule, and you are going to – guys, brace yourself for this. You are going to lose a game down the stretch. You are going to lose a couple games before the season's over.
I'm giving you a couple games.
And I got a couple more on top of it until I see what they do.
Because you feel like you have to.
Dorian, your opinion. You're on 97.1. You're in Detroit. What's going on?
Hey, how are we doing today?
Good.
This is a local Ravens fan that stays in Detroit, but the Lions do need to get a pass rusher. If they want to get through the playoffs, they need to get a pass rusher to be able to get through the playoffs. And nobody's talking about the Kansas City defense. They've actually been keeping the Chiefs in games. Patrick Mahomes is really not playing well this year.
You're right.
And as far as the MVP race goes, I would say probably 1 is Lamar Jackson, 2 is probably the Kansas City defense, and 3 I would have to say Jared Goff. He's actually playing very well.
I love that you're saying Kansas City's defense and not Mahomes. Like, you can bet on Mahomes, but the story of Kansas City last year and this year is their defense. Do you agree with this?
Dorian didn't give us his, is he on the 14-3 bus?
It said on the screener he was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I suppose he didn't share
we'll
that.
take that one.
John, you agree with his order?
Well, we have yet to see a side of the ball win MVP. I get his point, but I am going to remove
Lamar
them.
number 1.
I'm not going to argue that one too much because I do think that he is playing at an extremely high level. He's hitting more deep balls. At least I don't know what the numbers say in regards to where it was, but more impactful, explosive plays downfield. And some of that is the fact that defenses have to honor Derrick Henry, as they should, or else you will pay the price, a very steep price to pay.
Monday night, Lamar threw 5 touchdowns, so it really does draw a line between the two. He has 15 touchdowns to Goff's 10. He has fewer interceptions and more touchdowns, a higher quarterback rating, and Baltimore as an offense, they're scoring more points per game. He's thrown more big-time throws, which is a stat that Pro Football Focus tracks, more big-time throws. He also, under pressure this year, has 5 touchdowns, 0 picks. Goff has 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. He's been better against pressure, but all the numbers tell you right now Lamar is playing better than Goff.
If we see, and I do agree with Dan, where that Cardinals game, even though he did throw an interception, we saw a different Jared Goff. That's where the transition started to happen. But then against the Seahawks, the Cowboys, the Vikings, we have seen if Jared Goff can play even close to that level that we've seen the last 4 weeks, but specifically the last 3, I think he'll run away with the MVP race. I just don't know how sustainable that is. That's why I say he has to be close to that. And it's protecting the ball. It's taking what is there, not worrying about the total numbers of, hey, I need this passing yardage. I need these amount of passing touchdowns. It's simply about the win. And I think that's the big shift for Jared Goff, is that he is just simply taking what is there. And if he continues that, This offense is, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's near impossible to defend.